People often talk about others without thinking. They assume, they judge, they post, they react, all without truly knowing the person behind the name. Words have power, but people forget how heavy they can be until it's too late. And maybe that's what happened here. In the story of a man who spent his life teaching millions how to think calmly, rationally, strategically, but whose own story ended in chaos, whispers, and silence. Because when Vladimir Kramnik, a former world champion, spoke about Daniel Naroditsky, he probably didn't realize what his words would set in motion. He didn't know Daniel, not the man who smiled while teaching kids how to love chess, not the quiet mind behind the YouTube lessons watched by millions. He only saw a name on a screen, a rival, a rumor. And with one careless sentence, he might have pushed a fragile story into tragedy. But why did he say it? What made Kramnik, one of chess's greatest minds, point fingers instead of showing empathy? Why, in the middle of mourning, did he choose suspicion over silence? These are the questions that still haunt the chess world. Because when Kramnik posted those words, the entire internet stopped. It all began the morning of October 14, 2024. A simple post appeared on the official X, Twitter, account of the Charlotte Chess Center, Daniel's home base. The Naroditsky family shares the sad news of Daniel's unexpected passing. Daniel was a talented chess player, educator, and beloved member of the chess community. We ask for privacy as the family grieves. There was no cause of death, no details, just silence. But that silence didn't last long. Within hours, Vladimir Kramnik, who had publicly feuded with Daniel months earlier, posted something that sent chills through the community. Don't do drugs, no name, no explanation. But everyone knew who he meant. It was the timing, it was the tone, and it was cruel. The chess world exploded. Was Kramnik implying something about Daniel's death? Why would he say such a thing hours after the tragedy? Before anyone could process, Kramnik posted again. This time, longer, stranger, and even more unsettling. Weird. Noticed yesterday some people talking about a strange recent stream of Naroditsky, but checking again in a few hours. Many things erased. All videos from his Twitch, a thread about it, gone. Anyone knows what happened that forced them to act in such a rush? People went silent. Daniel's Twitch account, the one where he had streamed lessons, commentary, and personal chess moments, had been wiped clean. No videos, no clips, nothing. And just like that, a simple tragedy turned into a conspiracy. Was someone hiding something? Had Daniel deleted his content himself? Or had someone done it after his death? And why was Kramnik, of all people, so eager to draw attention to it? He continued posting. Normally they don't clean in such a rush. Must be something quite interesting, I think. To many it sounded like mockery, a man dancing on another's grave. To others it sounded like a warning. But those who had followed the story knew this wasn't random. This was part of a long, bitter feud, one that had begun months before. It started when Vladimir Kramnik, frustrated with online cheating in chess, began calling out players publicly. He accused multiple grandmasters of suspicious behavior, including Daniel Naroditsky, who was known for his honest, sportsmanlike approach. Daniel had been stunned. He responded on stream, visibly shaken, denying the accusations with both anger and heartbreak. He said, "To be accused by someone like Kramnik, someone I grew up admiring, it's soul-crushing." At one point, his frustration spilled over when he said, "He's worse than dirt." The words weren't out of hatred, but out of pain. Because Kramnik's accusation wasn't just an insult. It was an attack on Daniel's entire identity. And then, months later, Daniel was gone. The rumors spread faster than truth ever could. Was it exhaustion? Depression? Something else entirely? No one knew, and the family wasn't talking. But Kramnik's posts only made things worse. He mentioned Daniel being removed from commentator roles at chess.com and freestyle chess, suggesting that his career had started to crumble. He hinted at substance issues and mental health decline, though he had no evidence, no confirmation, and no right to speculate. "Got the stream episodes," Kramnik wrote. Not a doctor, but looks like something very else than sleeping pills. Hope, if any, real friends of him will care. To some, it was concern. To most, it was cruelty, because while he posted theories, others were mourning. Magnus Carlsen, the reigning world champion, broke his silence a few days later, and his words painted a very different picture. Carlsen's statement was full of grief and guilt. He called Daniel one of the kindest and most genuine people in chess. He recalled how they had played countless online games, some during the happiest moments of his life, others during his hardest days. "I played him on my wedding night," Carlsen said, "and once from a hospital bed. We always joked about how chess connects everything." But the tone changed when he spoke about Kramnik. Carlsen admitted he once admired Kramnik's campaign for fair play, but called his recent behavior crazy, obsessive, and harmful. "Daniel didn't deserve to be targeted like that," Carlsen said. "None of them did." He then added something that broke hearts everywhere. "I wish I had said something sooner. I tried privately to reach out to Daniel, but I should have said it louder." That one line, "I should have said it louder," echoed across the internet. Because it captured what so many were feeling: regret. Daniel's funeral was held quietly in Charlotte, attended by family, close friends, and a few members of the chess community. There were no cameras, no official speeches, just music, photos, and silence. Those who were there said it didn't feel like a funeral. It felt like a goodbye that came too soon. A small table displayed a chessboard with pieces mid-game, as if waiting for Daniel to make his next move. A few of his students spoke, kids who had learned from his YouTube lessons. One said, "He taught us how to play, but he also taught us how to be kind." There were no answers that day, only tears. But the story didn't end there. Kramnik wasn't done. Days later, he shared a screenshot from a fan, claiming he had warned people earlier. He wrote, "Awful tragedy. Hope it's properly investigated." To many, it sounded like an attempt to justify his earlier words. To others, it was guilt disguised as reason. But by then, the damage was done. Behind the headlines, Daniel's fans were left with something heavier than mystery, a sense of loss that words couldn't fix. Because Daniel wasn't just a grandmaster. He was a teacher, a storyteller, a gentle soul who turned chess into art. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't political. He was just human. And maybe that's why his death hit so hard. Because in a world where everyone has something to say, Daniel had spent his life saying only what mattered. Months later, documentaries and interviews tried to piece the story together. But the truth remained buried under speculation. Some claimed the pressure broke him. Others said he was struggling silently. But no one, not even those closest to him, could point to a single reason. What's left now is reflection. And one haunting lesson: that words once spoken can't be taken back. Because maybe if Kramnik had stayed silent, if people had shown more kindness, if the internet had paused before judging, maybe Daniel would still be here. But now it's too late. His legacy, however, lives on. Not in scandal, but in the hearts of those he inspired. Every time someone plays chess with patience, every time a student learns to think before reacting, Daniel's spirit breathes again. Because some moves in life can't be undone. And for those who loved him, the game will never feel the same again.